everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Myself Daini Thomas, working in AIIMS New Delhi. So in the last class we learned about the basic ECG waveforms, P, QRS complex, T and UA. Okay. So as per the request I have received, today we will be discussing the coronary anatomy. Okay. So we'll deal with the arrhythmias later in the next classes. Okay. So first let's learn about the coronary anatomy. So in today's class we'll be learning about the location of the heart, size and shape, chambers, layers and the valves of the heart. Okay. So first point, that is location. So where is the heart located? It is located in the mediastinum, okay, or in the thoracic cavity. It's in the space in the thoracic cavity, just behind the sternum and in between the lungs, okay, and just above the diaphragm, okay. Below the heart is the diaphragm. On the sides there are two lungs, and in front is the sternum, okay. That's the location of the heart. And next is about the size and shape, okay. How much is the size of a heart? Do you have any idea? So a human heart is the size of a human fist, okay. If we make a fist, that is the size of a human heart. Or we can say that the heart size is 12 centimeter into 9 centimeter into 6 centimeter, okay. It is 12 centimeter in the length is 12 centimeter, the width is 9 centimeter and the thickness is 6 centimeter, okay. So this is about the size. And how does it look like? There is a heart looks like this, okay. It is little bit curved forward, and this portion is known as apex, okay. Apex, and the upper portion is known as the base of the heart. Base is the area where the great vessels go outside, okay, the broader part, and the cone shaped area is the apex of the heart, okay. The anterior portion of the heart is the apex, and which is the and if you see, the heart is little curved to the left, okay. So the right ventricle comes to the anterior portion. Right ventricle is in the anterior portion and left ventricle goes little behind, and it is like this, okay. So here is the diaphragm, here comes the lungs. Lungs has a indentation here because of the left lungs has the indentation because of the position of the heart, okay. Here is the right lung. So it is cone shaped, and the cone portion or the apex is formed by the left ventricle, and right ventricle is in the anterior portion, and the upper portion is formed by the left and right atria, okay. So this is LA, RA, RV, LV, okay. This is about the size and shape of the heart, okay. So how much does a heart weigh? What is the weight? It is around 250 to 350 gram, okay, 250 to 350 gram. And next we will learn about the chambers of the heart. So what are the chambers of the heart? How many chambers are there? There are 4 chambers. Right atria, right ventricle, left atria and left ventricle. The upper chambers are known as, upper smaller chambers are known as atria, okay, atria, and those are small in size. And the lower portion are the right ventricle and left ventricle, those are bigger in size, okay. RA is a size, the thickness of RA is of 2 mm, okay, 2 millimeter, and RV is of thickness 3 mm, okay, 2 mm, sorry, yes, 3 to 5 mm, 3 to 5 mm, LA is the size of 3 mm, and LV is size of almost around 12 to 15 mm, okay. RA is of 2 mm, LA is of 3 mm, LV is of 12 to 15 mm, and RV is of 3 to 5 mm, thick. Okay, so why is there is a difference in the thickness of the heart? Because LV or left ventricle has to pump blood through the aorta to the whole body. Okay, left ventricle supplies blood to the whole body through the systemic circulation, and right ventricle it supplies blood to the lungs or pulmonary circulation. Since the left ventricle has to pump against a higher pressure, the left ventricle should have big muscles or greater thickness. Okay, that's why the left ventricle is of 12 to 15 mm thick, and RV is of 3 to 5 mm thick. Okay, and RA and LA, they have to contract only very slightly. Okay, they don't have to exert so much of pressure. That's why RA and LA is of less thickness. Okay, they are less thick. Are you clear about this? Okay, so let's learn about and how much is the amount of blood that are pumped out of the heart. Around 4,300 gallons of blood is pumped by a resting heart. Okay, a resting heart in a person will pump around 4,300 gallons of blood out of the heart. Okay. Okay, next we will see RA receives blood from where? RA receives blood from superior vena cava. Okay, SVC, superior vena cava, that drains from the head and the upper extremities. Superior vena cava drains the venous blood from the upper extremities as well as head, and inferior vena cava, it carries blood from the lower part of the body. So both drains into the right atria as well as coronary sinus. Have you heard about coronary sinus? Coronary sinus, that is the venous drainage of the heart. Okay, so coronary sinus also open to the RA. So the whole venous blood or deoxygenated blood from the body is drained into the right atria. Okay, and from the right atria it goes to the right ventricle, and from right ventricle there goes the pulmonary artery. Okay, pulmonary artery is in the upper portion. Just to pulmonary artery goes from the right ventricle, and from the so this is about right side. Okay, right side is a low pressure system. From the SVC, IVC and coronary sinus, the venous blood drains into the right atria that passes through the tricuspid valve to the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle it goes to the pulmonary artery that divides into right and left pulmonary artery and reaches the lungs for oxygenation. And after oxygenation, what happens? So this much is the low pressure system. The whole right side is a low pressure system, and from the lungs, how the blood returns? It returns through pulmonary veins. Okay, four pulmonary veins are there, 2 right pulmonary veins and 2 left pulmonary veins. So that drain into the left atrium. Okay, the oxygenated blood is carried from the lungs by the pulmonary veins to the left atria, and from the left atria the oxygenated blood drains to the left ventricle through the mitral valve or bicuspid valve. Okay, and from the left ventricle the oxygenated blood goes to the aorta. Okay, this is the aorta. Okay, aorta. So from left ventricle goes the aorta and it supplies the whole body. Okay, so this is about the circulation, and since the left ventricle is pumping against a higher pressure, that is a high pressure system. The left side is a high pressure system and the right side is a low pressure system. Okay, and this circulation from the LV, it goes to the aorta and supplies the whole body. That is known as systemic circulation. And from the RV, it goes to the lungs. That is known as pulmonary circulation. Okay. So what happens is, when the SVC and IVC drains to the RA and coronary sinus drains to the RA, 70% of the blood, okay, 70% of the blood is drained without any work by the atria. Atria don't have to work much to push the blood. Okay, when this tricuspid valve and mitral valve will open, and 70% of the blood will come by itself. Okay, that is there is a passive flow of blood. And next what happens is, remaining 30% of the blood is pushed into the ventricles by the atrial contraction. Okay, atria will contract. So that atrial contraction is known as atrial kick. Okay, so 70% of the blood is passively passed into the ventricles and 30% of the blood is pushed into the ventricles by the atrial contraction or atrial kick. Okay, so in left ventricle, around 150 ml of blood receives in the LV. Okay, so from the pulmonary circulation or from the lungs, blood comes to the LA and it reaches the LV. Okay, so when the ventricle is relaxing, the amount of blood that gets filled in the LV is around 150 ml. But from the 150 ml, only around half of the blood is going out. Okay, with each contraction, around 70 ml of blood is ejected into the aorta. Okay, so from the LV, it ejects blood to the aorta. So with each contraction, around 70 ml of blood is ejected out. That is known as stroke volume. Stroke volume. Okay. So with each contraction, the amount of blood that is ejected from the LV is known as stroke volume. That is around 70 ml. And the LV contains some amount of blood at the end of ventricular diastole. That is 150 ml. That is also known as end diastolic volume. Okay. By the end of the diastole of ventricles, the amount of blood that remains inside the ventricle is known as end diastolic volume. So that is 150 ml, and with the ventricular contraction, 70 ml is pushed out. That is stroke volume. So from the 150, 70 has gone. How much is remaining inside? 80 ml is remaining inside the LV. So this is known as end systolic volume. Okay, so this is known as end systolic volume. So have you heard about ejection fraction? Ejection fraction. It is also denoted by EF. If you see the echo reports of the patients, you can see EF 50%, 40%, like that it may be mentioned. Okay, so how is ejection fraction calculated? That is 70 divided by 150. 70 is the stroke volume and 150 is the end diastolic volume. Okay. So that is about the chambers. So let's learn about the layers of the heart. So what are the layers of the heart? Do you know what are the layers? That is endocardium, myocardium, and the epicardium. Okay, there are three layers of the heart, that are endocardium, myocardium, and epicardium. So endocardium is the inner thin connective tissue that lines the inside of the heart. Okay, if you see, the inside of the heart is lined by a thin connective tissue that is known as the endocardium. Okay, and next, so that lines the valves of the heart and the vessels of the heart. Okay, so aorta, pulmonary artery, those leave from the heart, right? So that is also continuous with the endocardium. Okay, so it is continuous with the tunica intima of the arteries. So the inner layer of the arteries are known as tunica intima. Tunica intima. Okay, so the inner layer of the arteries are continuous with the endocardium, that is a thinner connective tissue, and the muscle layer of the heart is known as the myocardium. Okay, the muscle layer. According to the thickness of the myocardium, the size of the chambers will vary. Okay, atria is little smaller and ventricles are thicker in size. Okay, so those thickness is decided by the myocardial thickness. Okay, and the outer layer is known as the epicardium. So outer to the epicardium, it is covered by another sac. Okay, that sac is known as pericardium. Pericardium or pericardial sac. So that has two layers, outer fibrous layer and inner serous layer. Okay, outer fibrous layer and inner serous layer, and this serous layer consists of outer parietal layer and inner visceral layer. Okay, so pericardium is the covering of the heart, and that consists of two layers, fibrous and serous pericardium, and fibrous pericardium is the outer one and serous pericardium is the inner layer, and serous pericardium, that is also again divided into parietal and visceral, and this visceral pericardium is known as the epicardium. Both are same. Okay, this visceral pericardium and epicardium are same, and in between these two layers, parietal and visceral pericardium, there is a space known as pericardial space, and that has a fluid that is known as pericardial fluid. It is around 10 to 20 ml. Okay, few books tell that it is 20 ml and few books say that it is 10 ml. So it is around 10 to 20 ml, and when this fluid is more than it gets increased, that condition is known as cardiac tamponade. When it gets filled very fast, that is known as cardiac tamponade. Cardiac tamponade, and when it gets filled slowly, that condition is known as pericardial effusion. Pericardial effusion. Okay, so this one is a emergency condition, and it has to be drained very fast. Okay, the pericardiocentesis will be done in that case. Okay, in cardiac tamponade. And pericardial effusion, it can be a chronic condition also. So in that condition also, pericardial drainage is done or medications are given to reduce the amount of fluid. Okay, so this is about the layers of the heart. So finally, let's learn about the valves of the heart. So how many valves are there? There are 4 valves. Okay, so this is RE. The valve between the right atria and right ventricle is the tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve, and the valve between LA and LV is known as the mitral valve. Mitral or bicuspid. Okay, so why this name has been given to these valves? Because this valve consists of two cusp. Okay, two cusp or leaflets. Those are known as leaflets. This moving portion is known as the cusp or leaflets. There are two cusp in mitral valve, that's why it is known as bicuspid, and in tricuspid valve there are three cusp. Okay, so three leaflets are there, that's why it is given the name of tricuspid. And why this is known as mitral? Because it looks like a mitre. Okay, so have you seen the cap of the church pastors? So it looks like a hat of those bishops. Okay, so this is known as mitre. So this valve also look like this mitre. That's why it is given the name of mitral valve. Okay, and from the cusp of the valves there are thread-like projections. Okay, these are the cusp of the valves and thin fiber-like projections. Okay, come down. Okay, these fiber-like projections are known as chordae tendineae. Okay, these fiber-like projections are known as chordae tendineae, and that is connected to muscles in the small muscles in the ventricles. Okay, this muscle is known as papillary muscle. Okay, so this muscle is known as papillary muscle, and the fiber-like projections that connect the papillary muscle and the leaflets are known as chordae tendineae, and these are known as cusp. And there is a fibrous ring in which these leaflets are anchored or connected. So this is known as annulus. Okay, this is known as annulus. The fibrous ring is known as annulus, and this is known as cusp. This is chordae tendineae, and this is papillary muscle. So in the left side there are two cusps, so there are two papillary muscles, and in right side there are three cusps, so there are three papillary muscle. Okay, connected to the leaflets of the tricuspid valve. Okay, so this is about the valve structures, and whenever the valve is contracting or closing, this chordae tendineae will release, and that's why there is no backflow into the LA when the valves are closing. Okay, when the valves are closing, this papillary muscle will have a tight hold on the leaflets. Okay, so this will prevent the prolapse of the leaflets into the LA when left ventricle is contracting. When left ventricle is contracting, these chordae tendineae and papillary muscles will prevent the prolapsing or going up of the leaflets. Okay, so this is about the valves of the heart. So in today's class we have discussed regarding the location of the heart, size and shape, chambers, layers and valves. Okay, so in the next class we will learn about the coronary circulation and heart sounds, and further we will learn the ECG also. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel and share this information to your friends also, those who want to learn about the cardiac anatomy and the ECGs in the coming classes. Thank you so much.